The next question. Assalamu alaikum, dear sir. I am from Bangladesh and I am a final year BSc student. I don't want to flash my name. Is it permissible to chat in Facebook Messenger with one of our classmates who is a non-mehram about our deen, like sharing hadith, sharing Quranic verses, encouraging each other like fasting on Mondays and Thursdays, and some random chats, keeping in mind that no fitna is committed here? Is it permissible? The sister is asking a question, that is it permissible for her to chat on the Facebook Messenger with her non-mehram classmates? That means a boy who's a classmate. You know, maybe for doing dawah or for Quranic verse or hadith, and you know, general chats, taking care that no fitna is done. It's like someone asked me the question that can I have alcohol and I'll take care that I will not get intoxicated. If you're going to have alcohol, there are high chances, almost very high chances that you'll get intoxicated. Now, as far as Islamic ruling is concerned, for a girl or a boy who are non-mehram to chat on the social media, whether it be Facebook or whether it be WhatsApp or whether it be Twitter, here the verse of the Quran from Surah Isra, chapter number 17, verse number 32 says, "Come not close to adultery, for it is an evil opening other roads to evil." Here Allah is not saying don't do adultery. Allah is saying come not close to adultery. Adultery is a major sin. Zina is a major sin. It is the 11th major sin. According to Imam Madhabi in his book Al-Qabair, he places zina as the 11th major sin. But here Allah says, come not close to zina, because it's an evil opening other routes to evil. So all these things, chatting on the Facebook Messenger or chatting on the WhatsApp or chatting with SMS on the social media, these are fitna. You cannot say, I will do with the non-mehram. If you're doing with the same sex, there is no problem. Whether it be Facebook Messenger, whether it be WhatsApp, whether it be SMS, if you're chatting or texting amongst your friends of the same sex, it's perfectly allowed. But texting with the opposite sex, most of the time it's haram. Most of the time. Certain times in emergency, when required, if you do, it's permissible. But just like how you said, you know, we want to chat and we will see to it that we will stay away from fitna. It's not possible. If you come close to fire, there are high chances that your hand will get burnt. You cannot say I will get my hand close to the fire and nothing will happen. The reason is that all these are khutwatu shaitan. Allah says in the Quran, in Surah Baqarah, chapter number 2, verse number 168, that stay away from the khutwatu shaitan. For verily, the Satan to you is an avowed enemy. So all these things are the stepping stone for the major sin. I'll give an example. That suppose a non-mehram girl phones a man, and the phone rings and he picks up and he says, oh, maybe a classmate, like as you mentioned. He will say, speaking to a girl on the phone, no problem. What is the harm? I'm not doing any haram. I'm not staring at her. I'm not doing zina. Speaking to a girl on the phone, no problem. And when they speak, and the shaitan comes. Then after speaking for a few times on the phone, then they may say, let's have coffee in the cafe. And they said, okay, having coffee together in a cafe, no problem. She's just a friend. There is no problem having coffee together. Then later on they say, let's have dinner together in a restaurant. Then having dinner together in a restaurant, no problem. Later on they say, okay, let's sleep together overnight. Sleeping together overnight, no problem. All these are khutwatu shaitan. Therefore Allah says, come not close to adultery. It's an evil opening other roads to evil. So all these things, like for example shaking hands, like chatting on the social media, or even chatting face to face with a non-mehram, staring at them, it is not permitted. All these are khutwatu shaitan. All these are things which are haram because they are stepping stone towards the major sin. And Islam is very clear-cut. In these cases, you cannot stay alone with a non-mehram in a closed door. The Prophet said, if two non-mehram men and women are together, the third person is the devil. Today we find in the modern age, no problem. The friends, girls and boys who are non-mehram, they meet, they chat, they laugh together, they shake hands, they hit one another. It's very common. All these are haram. And shaking hand, it's a stepping stone. If a non-mehram shake hands, it's a stepping stone towards a greater evil. That's the reason even shaking hands with a non-mehram is prohibited. So similarly, even chatting on the social media, whether Facebook Messenger, whether it be WhatsApp, whether it be SMS, with a non-mehram is prohibited unless it's an emergency, where if it's a requirement. In emergency, when you do it, it is once in a blue moon, and the emergency doesn't happen with the same two people. For example, if an emergency, if you do, it may happen with any non-mehram, no problem. It's an emergency, your mind doesn't deviate, and you take your precaution. This thing happens when it is repeated. If you repeatedly talk with the same girl on the phone, there are chances you may do bigger evil. If you repeatedly chat with the same girl and boy who are non-mehram, repeatedly chat, then it happens like there's a saying in Urdu, dil lagaya ghadi se to pari kya cheez hai. So when you keep on meeting more often the opposite sex who are non-mehram, the shaitan comes, the devil comes, and it leads to zina and various other evils. Therefore, the Muslims, men and women, boys and girls, non-mehram should not chat unless if it's a requirement, if it's an emergency, once in a blue moon, keeping your limits, not using words which are obscene, seeing to it that the language is proper, seeing to it it doesn't happen regularly. If these precautions are taken, once in a blue moon permitted, not that it's haram to speak to a girl. When you're speaking to a girl, see to it that you lower your gaze. If you maintain the Islamic decorum, it's fine. But regularly chatting, it's un-Islamic. That's the reason my advice to you, sister, would be that you should not do it. And again, oh, I'm doing for dawah, we're exchanging Quranic verses, we're exchanging hadith. These are also the whispers of the Satan. If they know you're Islamic, okay, you will not chat with a non-mehram, so the Satan says, okay, exchange hadith with the non-mehram friend, exchange Quranic verse. That you can do with the female friends. But opposite sex, it should be avoided, it should not be done. What you can do, yes, if you write an article, and if that article is read by non-mehram, no problem. If you're writing a book on Islam, and if that book on Islam is read by men, that's not a problem, because there's no direct contact one-to-one. So in certain things, in this way, like writing articles, if you're good with the pen, or if you're writing a blog, in this way there's no direct contact. In general level, in public level, such things can be done, but one-to-one with the opposite sex, there are high danger and high chances that it may lead to other major sins. Hope that's it.